and then you hit it. Yeah. What's up, everybody? We are back with the E55 AMG without the supercharger belt. So here is our brand new Mercedes expensive crank pulley. This, I'll tell you what that is in a second. These are not cheap. This thing was like 450 bucks new. Still cheaper than the aftermarket ones that companies are selling, where they're, I guess, lighter weight and slightly more adjustable, but those are like 1,300 bucks. So I went with an OEM harmonic balancer, they're also called. So here, you know, brand spanking new. There is a keyway in how it goes in. And so it's going to be fairly easy to reach in there. I'll probably just pull out the radiator fan to get easy access. The difficulty is locking up the engine because there's a torque converter. Even though you're in park, it'll spin. And so my dad, he works as a machinist. He invented me this cool tool to pretty much go into those holes and shove a pry bar in one end and lean it either against the floor or against the frame of the car and get a extension with a, I think it's a 22 or 24 socket, and break off the factory bolt. And then we're going to install it back this way. I think it's a good 200, 300, 400 pounds, foot-pounds of torque. I don't know what's on it, but we're going to definitely install this bad boy today. Get our belt back on. We do have the smoke tester with the smoke tester oil that's arrived, so I want to do that as well. Get a smoke test going on this car and see where we stand. Maybe I'll do the smoke test first. It's kind of easier to do, and I'm very interested to see where our smoke's coming from. We've got some smoke fluid for like smoke machines. Just bought the cheapest one off Amazon. People said they work well. So this is like a simple smoke machine. You put the fluid under that cap there, and there's just a power supply and then the smoke output and then the power on and off. You most likely hang it up off the hood. And so I'm going to assemble this, get it some 12-volt power supply. There's a couple attachments, so you could put that in an intake and just smoke out the inside of the engine and see where you got those vacuum leaks. I'm hoping it's something simple, again, because the car is gradually improving in terms of how it runs and with the codes that it throws, but still, I think there's still a few small ones to track down, and we're going to be pretty much dialed in after that. Luckily, I had a little 12-volt battery laying around here. I don't know if it's off of like a kid's scooter or something that broke, and I had a leftover battery. So you put the 12 volts on there. Let's see how this works. Getting a little bit of smoke. Okay. I'm sure it kind of needs to work its way. I know it uses a little heater. Then let's see how we're going to plumb it in there, and we're just going to turn it on and shine a light and start looking around for smoke. All right, that's in there. Let's turn it on again. Oh, yeah. Definitely a better stream of smoke. We're going to now plop it in there. Well, so far all the smoke, and the only smoke I see is coming out from under here because I don't have clamps on those. So let me clamp those down and see if we can direct it further past the intake manifold or past the throttle body. I know the throttle body is kind of closed, so that doesn't help. I wonder, maybe I can put the car into the second ignition mode and it'll let the throttle body flop back and forth a little bit, and then that'll give us more access into the supercharger. Yeah, after clamping everything off, it's still just coming out from the intake Y tract, so it shouldn't be as much of an issue. I was hoping to find leaks along these manifolds for the surge tanks or something on the little Y pipe down there, but no, it's just the Y here. So I think we're pretty solid in terms of vacuum leaks or boost leaks in the car. I am going to set up our Zentry and hook it up to the car today, and we're going to run some diagnostics. Someone commented that these throttle bodies are garbage. I don't disagree. This was 50 bucks on Amazon, but in my defense, it worked. The $500 BBK that I bought, I plugged it in. There was no response to the electrical input. Maybe it was a flawed piece. Maybe if my calibration or adjustments with Zentry for throttle input and idle speeds and stuff like that don't work, then I'll try another BBK, but I want to try the easier stuff first. All right, so it's a 17 right there, and you turn it clockwise or right to push down the tensioner, and it loosens the belt. I don't need to take off the belt everywhere. I just needed to loosen it around the main crank pulley. I had a 24 mil and a 22 mil and a 30 mil socket, but none of them fit. So I'm gonna go find the correct socket, and we're gonna start taking that off. Here's our big boy bolt. I saw they had some anti-seize on it, which is pretty smart. Probably helped me get it off. So I think I need to whack that pulley maybe left and right a little bit with like a metal rod and a hammer, because I think they you know, it's not like a tight fit, but I know there's a keyway and stuff, and over time, right, with heat cycles, it could be pretty snug on there. Let's see how easy that is. I hammered at it a little bit. I tried a pry bar. I don't want to ruin anything on the face of the engine. Maybe we'll get some heat on it. Let's see if that helps anything. There, I stuck my finger in there, and there is some like lubricated oil or anti-seize on there as well. So hopefully, again, some heat will help it change a little bit, and we'll be able to take it off. None of that was working, so I busted out the puller. I don't think this is a super hardcore puller, so hopefully it doesn't rip off the rings off the other piece, but let's see what it does. Here we've busted out a more massive puller. Stronger design to get it off. Homemade tools, or dad made tools. Did it loosen it? Он снимает отсек немного. Slowly. It's coming off. I can see on the pulley face. You can see the pulley on the left slowly coming out. Should be pretty much loose. So you needed a puller with longer arms than that, and so this one is able to reach all the way around the front crank pulley and grab it from the back and pull it out. Болтик открутил?
Yeah.
The bolt is still holding it. There you go. It's a tight one. Hey, it's a boy!
It's a boy.
Ta-da! Yeah, it's probably just kind of rusted on there. So here's our old one. I seated back the ring that flew off. Quick note, look at how somebody was trying to install this, and they pretty much we're most likely banging this incorrectly against the keyway. See that huge pit on the left? That's not good, because if you give enough force, the keyway on the crank could come out, and that would be a bad day because you would not know the correct orientation for this. And then this is not as solid holding in place on the crank as it should be. So don't do that. What we did is put anti-seize on the new one, and then we marked it with the marker, and then we used a little mirror to seat this correctly. And then you can slowly use the bolt to press it in and just observe that everything goes smoothly. Yep. Is it right?
No, that просто.
Let's try with the bolt.
No, it's fine. Okay.
So hand tighten the bolt and then grab the socket and probably use like a ratchet to slowly tighten it up and observe the pulley. Is it gone? You can get it tight enough to where it starts to turn over the engine, and then you can use the special tool over there to get your full 200 plus pound-feet of torque. Прокручивает двигатель. So now we're turning over the engine. We can double check again. Maybe even you want to take it out and see if the keyway's in. So yeah, you could, once you seat it on there, you can take off the bolt again and use your mirror and light to double check the keyways in the right passageway. So here's the contraption again. We have a pry bar down to the floor with some 2x4s. And there we go, start tightening it. It's not a torque wrench, but as long as you could tighten it really good with some muscle, it should do the trick. How's it feel?
Feels like I'm strong.
Strong man, young buck. Pretty good. With the hard part over, I've put the main drive belt or serpentine belt back. The easiest way I've found to do that is route everything and then route it around the tightener or whatever, the tightener pulley. And then over here where the water pulley is, you would seat the belt first on that bottom ridge, and then everything is nice, and then you put your 17 mil and go left. It lifts that piece up, and while you're retaining tension with your left hand, you can pop it on top of the water pulley and then let go, and everything is good and tight. Do take care to make sure all the belt is seated correctly in all the ridges of the pulleys. Those two were not seated, so I had to loosen it and finesse it to get to seat on the ridge. So on your first start, the belt won't fly off. Now I took off this nut off of this wraparound kit, and I'm going to slide the supercharger belt back in. I think I just need to slide it in here to route it correctly around everything. This is going to help for me to look back at the first photos I had. So that was pretty simple. Snaked it in there, goes around and down there. So it's a 17 millimeter, but you have to use a wrench with the, I don't know how many points that is, 12, 16, to turn left on this guy. You see that? And then we're able to fish it around the new pulley, and we're gonna cold start the car. And we're gonna go for a rip again for sure. There's a nice way to fish your fan back in. On this side, on one end, the fan has a small round divot. And I kind of figured out that when you push that divot up around this part of the hose, it allows you enough clearance to pull back on this hose a little bit and slide everything in. Taking it out was a little harder because I didn't know about that. Also, if you don't have clips, you can zip tie the shroud to the radiator. Makes it a bit more stable. And then when you put the cross member in, after you put the cross member in, it'll hold the radiator in place as well. We're getting close to starting the car and going for another rip. Everything's put back together. Let's start her up and let her warm up a little bit. Where's the key? Open the garage. Please, nothing fly off. How about I seat you guys over there, so if anything does fly off, you'll get a front row seat. How's that? Let's see. Y'all ready? Yay, things are spinning. Good. Man, listen to this thing. It sounds like a boat. I love it. One of those big V8 boats. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go for a spin. All right, let's go ahead and get out for a little spin. I've got you looking out the front of the hood with the beautiful Mercedes emblem. I forget what the emblem even stands for. Some kind of trilogy trifecta. But I love the look. Mercedes emblem is definitely iconic. Hope they don't go changing it like Jaguar recently changed their logo. Mercedes, they're already making a lot of funky changes that people don't like. Going 4-cylinder with their AMG cars. Like the new C63 was a 4-banger. Nobody bought them. So I think they're going back to V8. I don't know exactly. Superchargers back online. Dude, this thing accelerates like nothing. I honestly think I need to really calibrate the throttle body. That beeping is the kind of like distance warning for cars in front of you. It scares me all the time because I'm like, something's wrong. But like, you just follow a car slightly closely on the freeway, that thing beeps at you. So I think this throttle body needs calibration. It also might be that because the car is stuck in sport mode, that the throttle is just more sensitive, more finicky, you know? So that could be another byproduct, but we'll get home and we'll try the Zentry tool and we'll see what that gives us. I'm pretty excited to see what I can calibrate with Zentry, or what kind of more deep analysis I can do, or in-depth analysis, so that we can put all these issues to rest and just drive this car and have a lot of fun. It's just so fun how like aggressive the throttle is on this car. You could give a quarter throttle and it's just, you hear that? And it's just fishtailing the rear. It's slightly kind of rainy, gusty outside today, so yeah, this thing is a riot. It's kind of fun how obnoxious it is, honestly. I'm sure it could get annoying if you daily it and it does this, but like here. Oh, I love it. And now I'm just cruising. It's so quiet. Like, I love the fact that this car still has a full exhaust. It has resonators and it has C63 mufflers. It just doesn't have cats. It has medium length headers, and it sounds like there's no drone. And then you get on it and it's beautiful V8 sound. Like, I understand turbo cars, you can't really do that because of the turbo in the exhaust system, pretty much, you know, hanging off your headers. But still, it's true V8 cars, like NA V8 sounds, I think are the best. I'm gonna keep working on my other cars to improve their exhaust sounds. That's my goal. But yeah, it's a pleasure, definitely. Like, check this out. I'm just gonna quarter throttle it. Oh yeah, also the supercharger whine. Check this out. And then if you downshift to third. I'm gonna try to hit a straight here and give you a little second gear for fun. We're going about 40 right now, 40 rolls. So this is third gear. The gears are long in this 5-speed. Let's see. Here's second. So about 40 roll is like 3K RPM. And then you hit it. Yeah. Beautiful pull. Smooth power. Shrek lives over there in the swamp. I hope changing out this pulley and tightening everything, what if that was a issue or byproduct or some kind of issue of me getting inconsistent manifold pressure? Because you remember, I would get a code for like manifold pressure. What if the pulley previously was spinning on the hub and not giving us a full boost? Or at least like when you were giving it the beans, it was spinning through, right? Revolving. And there was inconsistency in boost pressure. We'll see. Again, so far, everything seems to be driving great now. You know, it's lovely out. It's still cold. The car's still warming up. We're only at 78 degrees on the oil, so we'll see on the way home. Let's see if we get another fun hit in first gear. You guys ready? Easy. Definitely a lot of fun. We're coming to a 4-way stop. Let's see if we can give these truck guys a bit of fun. The traction off is not a real traction off. It's kind of a, I don't know, it gives you a Bernie and then it cuts it and then you let off and you get back on. It's a little bit all over the place, but it's still fun. I must say the car feels a bit smoother, and I don't know if it's placebo because I haven't driven it for a while, or if it's just now that there's not as much supercharger belt slip on the main crank pulley, and so things feel a little bit more even. But again, I want to get home and I just want to figure out how to hook up the Zentry stuff, and then pretty much, you know, speak after that. But so far the idle has not been jerky, and all that. So far so good. The drive home goes. I'm seeing more little specks of rain, so traction is definitely not going to be 100%. I don't know, they say BMWs are the biggest a-hole drivers. You can definitely be you can easily be an a-hole driver on this type of AMG, I'm sure. Annoy people, pass them, drive by them, and so on. I guess to spend a minute reflecting on this car, I'm really impressed with the car overall. I think this just reiterates the fact that maintenance is key. Maintenance and proper care, even especially if it's a AMG with power. You've got all that torque, you've got all that momentum, things get loose, things break, you got to buy quality parts. You have to figure out good ways to fix things, because otherwise it won't be timely, you know. And again, this car is solid. I feel like the build quality is awesome. The engine is awesome. Build quality awesome. But the car was just kind of misused. And I'm hoping that I can get it to like that 100% mark, or near, like back to, you know, fully restored with all the little things. Like I still need to figure out little electrical things here and there. I want it to drive extremely smoothly. I want to get the modes back for comfort, sport, manual. I'm gonna, you know, when I fix all these engine issues, we're gonna move on to the height, whatever monitors or controllers on every corner. Make sure that those are actually operating. Because the car's lowered, people say they could complain and go into this mode, or one of them might be, you know, out, and you just have a ABS or whatever fault, and so the transmission doesn't go into like a normal mode. So all of these things are possibilities. But honestly, quite impressed with AMG build quality. I love it. This is probably my favorite era of AMGs. It's around this M113K engine. I love this. Probably I would love this engine in like the G-Wagon. I love this engine in the E-Class. They came in the S55 AMG as well, and the CLs, SLs. But I think the E is an iconic look. Definitely always liked this look. Yeah, different from BMW for sure. Quite different in the look and feel of things, but nevertheless, still awesome. Commendable. All right, we're on the home stretch. Man, acceleration is so easy and smooth. We're out here pumping some E55 into the tank. Pretty much for this car, it just serves as a bit of an octane booster, or pretty much any of my cars. The tune on here, I'm sure, is just like a 91 or 92 pump gas tune, but you can never go wrong with a little bit of E85 in your tank to spike that octane rating and minimize knock. Helps fight heat as well in the cylinders. I've decided to put back the factory airboxes. For one, I think they look way better than my funky accordion setup. And I would like, I guess, my car to just continue working nicely like it just did on that drive. So we'll see what happens out of all of this. As you remember, I do have the accordion pieces on the ends, but it's not completely making a full seal at the moment, but it is going to be directing still cold air into the intake, so to speak. So we're still pretty good there. I just love the factory airbox look, the OEM Plus look, so I think we'll keep that for now. With time, if it's still happy, I'm going to make the connection. We're probably going to lose a lot of the supercharger whine that instantly quiets down. With those partially open, we're still going to be able to hear it. Let's put the other side on. Oops. Fish those in there. All right. Just like so. Easy peasy. I'm still really pleasantly surprised how easy it is to work on this engine. So that's a big plus to it, is the ease of access to everything, for the most part. Definitely the new twin turbo engines are a bit more tough to work on. That's a fact. Nice. Let me wipe it down. And she's going to be all good. Because of the split cooling mod. Okay. So, I'm missing the metal clips. That would explain why. Okay, maybe I'll borrow a metal clip from this side. Okay, they don't come off as easy. Okay, that's fine for now. I'll source some of these metal clips. This side doesn't have them. I'll also look around the garage, see if any of them kind of fell off somewhere. In the meantime, we can figure out like a little rubber wedge and still seat that on there. Let's see if this trick will work. It should. How big is this? Okay. Little rubber wedge, although it might come off. Probably need some double side, some electrical tape as well. All right, we got some Gorilla Gel super glue. Just give it a couple drops or a dab on the top. I don't like using super glue too much, especially on exterior car trim parts, because it gives that like really bright white oxidation effect as the plastic begins to take. It's kind of ugly. You can deal with it, you like wipe it off a couple times and eventually it doesn't come back. But I know there are better automotive glues, so to speak, that just work better. But if someone knows what's the best stuff out there, let me know. All right. Boom. Better. A little bit better. Does it come off easy? It does. I'm going to give it another couple layers of electrical tape right here. Fatten it up a little bit. That way it'll actually grab on that end. Backyard engineering. As long as you don't do this and just keep it like this forever, right? Someone said there's nothing as permanent as something temporary. Boom. Much better. Nice. What can I say? Bless this car to work and to keep working. I wanted to share a cool tip. The dipstick, the car doesn't come with the dipstick, but it comes with this like oil dipstick tube. And I sourced from Mercedes a long time ago a dipstick for the transmission, specifically this 5-speed. So you can see the lower two marks on the right side. Those are for when it's cold, low and high. And on the left side is low and high for when the car is hot. But for the engine oil, there's like a specified millimeters from the bottom of the oil pan that's considered to be a good, healthy level. And I've marked it with a Sharpie, and it's kind of lived on, so it's good. What we're gonna do is take out this plug, and we're just gonna put this dipstick all the way to the bottom. That's a deep pan, like that's the end. And let's check our oil level. So we are actually, I can see it's wet, even like right here. So yeah, we're definitely pretty good, pretty full. And the oil quality, not bad, not too dark. I do plan to do a video of an oil change with you guys here soon, so it might be in the next video for us. Cool. Little tip there. I think it's 150 millimeters. Don't quote me. Let me go check it with my... Yeah, so it's about 5 3/4 inches on the bottom of the dipstick. So that's about 147 millimeters. So if you have a similar dipstick, a long one, you can make a mark, and that is an easy way to check your engine oil in the M113K engine. This variant of the E55. Some cars came with a different oil sump or oil pan. This one, of course, has kind of like a pan that spans over the front cross member where the steering rack is and the sway bar. So your car might be different. You have to look it up. But make sure your dipstick is clean, right? You don't want any gunk getting in there. Yeah, overall, we're having fun so far with this AMG. Some things frustrated me and some things gladly surprised me. So we're just going to keep at it, and hope you stay tuned for us to continue to chase down issues and resolve them. One thing that I do want to do is take a look again at the rear left hub, pull off the wheel, and see if we're still getting the shimmy, and see if I can tighten it a little bit more. I think sometimes still on like a tight turn, slow speed, I feel a bit of a rear rotation or thump, and I think that's what it is. So I need to recheck. Either that hub needs to be replaced, or the hub and the wheel bearing, or we just need to tighten it again, because there's no noise coming from the rear hubs. The car is very quiet while cruising. It's more of a fact of like it had that shimmy. So let's go look at that. Let me show you what we're still getting on this tire. Pretty much, if I grab it, there's not really supposed to be any movement, but listen to this. It's better than it was before. There's not much up and down. It's more the left and right. So I'm going to pull this off, and we're going to take a look and see if we can hand tighten the main nut. Yep. There's another thing I'm struggling to understand. Like, we have these aftermarket nice top camber arms and rear toe arms. Let me put on my glove again. The rear one, it has some movement, but it's because of the ball joints, but it's solid. This one though, like, look at the back. I get it, it's also on a ball joint, but I just don't feel comfortable with it having this like clickety clackety feeling to it. I don't know if it's supposed to do that. Like, this is all tight. Actually, not really. Anyway, I'm gonna tighten this up. I don't know what to do about that stuff in the back. We'll see. But it would be nice to like lock this thing down a bit. I understand it does need to be on a ball joint because the suspension travels and you want all this stuff to kind of travel with it. You don't want that to be set in stone because it'll just rip it out, because this goes up and down. But yeah, I'm just gonna take a look around, tighten some things. I see also these are adjustable sway bar end links. Those seem to be pretty good, not wobbly. The boot is kind of wet. It's not bad. I don't see any apparent oil or grease leaks, but I'm gonna loosen this ring on the outside, and I'm gonna try to tighten this nut a little bit further, just so we can mitigate, because I pull on stuff and it doesn't move. I think it's the hub. I didn't record as much, but you can see how much more I've been able to tighten it. This edge used to be over there. So I grabbed my breaker bar and just kind of gave it a good couple body pressure tightening tugs. And so hopefully this will do the trick of tightening up our bearing, wheel bearing. If not, you might need a replacement. I'll look into it. But I remember before I tightened this piece was like all the way over there. So there was plenty to tighten. So this tire looks like it has pretty good even tire wear. But if you look up here, I think we're rubbing because there's not enough negative camber to help the tire tuck in there. So you can see we get a bit of contact. So I might spin this guy to bring these together a tiny bit more. I don't have an accurate measurement right now. I am gonna get an alignment on this car eventually. But what this will do is just, of course, help me eliminate this and kind of match the other side. The other side does have some camber and this one looks like it's closer to 0. So let's do that. Let's get out there for one more rip before the night is over. Definitely still need to raise these headlights a bit more. Dark neighborhood. These windows are not necessarily even tinted dark, it's just a dark neighborhood. I'm honestly partially really excited that this pulley seems to have fixed my issues, or just my issue hasn't come back yet. But we're definitely gonna go give it a good rip and see if she goes into her little limp mode or not. If it doesn't, then I am more than happy that things are resolved. Porsche, you want to go? It's okay, I'm going this way. What is traction? That is the question. I'm gonna be like a little bit more rough on it in terms of on-off throttle, just to see if I can get my issue to reappear. The alignment, I don't know. I still struggle. Like, I tightened that bolt and it still seems to be a little bit of play, which it shouldn't be. I'll see how much a rear wheel bearing is. The right side is solid. The left one's the one that's a little finicky. And then I do want to get an alignment done. I don't want to do an alignment while that bearing's kind of floosy, because it's not going to give you much benefit. Like, it's still going to be moving whatever number of degrees that is, left and right. It's not the best. But I'll research it. We'll definitely have more updates and videos on this car. Of all things, the power and the sound are definitely worth, I guess, all the effort that we've been putting into fixing this car. It's been pretty fun in that regard. I still remember the first day I fixed it after towing it home. And going for my first second gear pull, I was ecstatic. All right, what are we in? Second? It's wet out. There's not going to be any traction. Let's get past these cars. You guys ready? Yeah, those gear shifts pulling on the right paddle on the steering wheel is a mere suggestion. It's not a command for the next gear. It's like, oh, please, Mercedes, if you shall find it worthy of your desires, to please turn on the next gear. At least the kick down works. It's like a nice kick in the butt. Bop! Still, I'm trying to think, like, does this car load up good? If you're, let's say you're cruising in fifth on the freeway and someone counts in the honks, you know, 1, 2, 3, go. Kind of throws out the back pretty dramatically. Or is it better to, like,